I'm the son of a single mother whose father disappeared, left my mother at a very early age for me. I lived with my grandparents in Brunswick. I'm kind of born in Brunswick. But my grandfather used to build roads in rural areas. He'd get a contract and then we'd all go off and live in that area. I wasn't lonely, but I was comfortable in myself, and I was comfortable to explore whatever it was that I found myself in. I had a lot of freedom. But then my mother arrived from her nursing job and said, I've got something to tell you, and that we're going to go and live in Reservoir because I've met this guy who also has a son who also was deserted by his partner, and he was a guitarist and a plumber. He introduced me to music, and there were all these musicians who I instantly took to because they were different. They had like crew neck jumpers, and they had sexy, slinky girlfriends in tights with beehives. And that was the beginning of my fascination with drums. And I went to school and I joined the drumming group. Everything was military, right? So I used to have to play the drums. So that was my gig. And then as I got older, I had like little folk groups in school, and particularly in high school. And when I was about 16, I went and saw Thelonious Monk. We just go in the back room and meet him. And he's like, oh man, who's these white honky kids, As soon as I finished school, I escaped Resi. I knew I wanted to be a beatnik. Go straight to Carlton, and all the Carlton push. At exactly that time, got a job as a cadet journalist when I left school. So that was the end of my kind of music career. But the exciting world of journalism was like, yeah, I want to be here. Vietnam's on, and I'm 19. I'm right at the heart of it. In that period of six or more years working there, I went from a cadet to an A-grade journalist. But I wanted to get into magazines. I saw that. I thought, I'm just writing telegrams here. My girlfriend gets pregnant, and we head off to Asia. We live in Bali for a couple of months, and we find our way overland, catch a boat, land in Madras. We lived in the town in Pondicherry, which was great. French provincial town. We lived in this nice little apartment. We had a baby there, and we lived there for 18 months with our daughter Asha, which means hope in Hindi. I instantly find a Mridangam teacher. I find a yoga teacher in the Aurobindo ashram and I used to write for Nation Review about political life and quirky life in India. And I decide to go up to the north coast of New South Wales. So I get this idea to start a magazine called The Bush Telegraph. It's a raging success, critical success. Everyone loves it, but we've got a problem. We're not business people. So next minute I find myself working in a totally different area, but using all my media knowledge and skills, running these health programs and advertising programs for quitting smoking. The whole thing was a massive success. So I go to Sydney and replicate the anti-smoking campaign for Laurie Burton. And not too long after I moved to Sydney, she met another guy that she ended up marrying and having other children with. We always agreed with each other that we wouldn't punish each other or punish the children, and we would openly share them as much as possible. But when the kids got a bit older, they opted to live with me. And because I came from that world of being single, it didn't feel weird to me. But I didn't want to be the father that left my children. And I know the moment that I decided that. So they grew up in that till they're in their, nearly late teen and 20s. They've left home. Then I have a heart attack in late 2003. I get put in the ambulance. I go into full cardiac arrest. Hit me with the defibrillators, bring me back. All I remember is just fading. I felt like I was going down a sink. I felt like water going down a sink, and then the whole screen just went out, black. It was interesting. All that Buddhist training that I'd done totally kicked in. You're here, you're not. You're back again. Quintuple bypass. That whole operation of having a chest open, like they break your sternum open, and somehow it really opens up your heart. I could feel people. I'm not a person who's like normally psychic or any of those sorts of things, but I could feel people. And so I saw it as an amazing place to practice compassion, and like these practices called Tonglen, where you breathe in the suffering and pain of other people, and you breathe out loving kindness to them. And you do this viscerally. Well, a hospital is like the perfect place. So there was all this sort of other level of things going on where I had this really deep understanding. And in fact, I'd even got a kind of a message directly after the heart attack, about what really mattered. Love matters most. That's what really matters in the world. That's it. So I just use the house like a resource, and at the same time I've got grandchildren and daughters live near me, 3 minutes away, 5 minutes away. Then I decide to publish the book, the Texere book. And I performed my poetry, which I practiced a little bit, but I was amazed that people really liked it. And meeting people that I'd never met who said things to me like, wow, I really had that experience that you talked about there. And I thought, wow, that's what every writer wants. When someone actually gets what you do, really gets it, then, and they get it, it's kind of got this really amazing resonance that it's a bit like when you're teaching something and someone says, you know what, that's the first time I've really understood that properly. I have to say that at this time of life, at 77, I feel my life is now, even though there's that whole story and that informs a lot of things. I measure my life like in dog years in the next few years. So I really want to make the most of what happens and not waste my time.